Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said negotiators have reached a ceasefire deal, ending 2 days of debate. If approved, it could take effect as early as Sunday. Joining us now, Amos Hochstein serves as senior advisor to President Biden for energy investment. And it's good to see you today, Amos.
Good to see you too, Joe. It's good to be on the show.
We're going to have to find out where you're headed, because this might be one of your final interviews. Only great things we all see for you, obviously, in the future. But while everyone's trying to take credit for this, and you've seen sort of the back and forth, and obviously the two teams worked very closely together. Both teams have said that, which is gratifying. I think there are some people, maybe, I don't know if you saw the piece in the Journal from the newspaper writer in Israel, that said that actually President Trump forced the prime minister to make a deal that allows Hamas to maybe not only survive, but maybe even rebuild. And that maybe it should have been pushed back till after the inauguration.
Well, first, thank you for having me. I think it is my last interview, so I appreciate all the time with you over the last 4 years. Look, I think with all respect to the Wall Street Journal, no one forces Prime Minister Netanyahu to do anything. He's been around for a long time because he manages his politics fairly well, and he knows what he believes is the best thing for Israel. At the end of the day, we have to focus on is not credit and not anything else. It's two things. Number one, the first 3 hostages are coming home on Sunday after being in captivity for over 470 days. That is horrific. And the fact that they're coming home, I think, is the only thing we should be focusing on. The second thing is that I think something extraordinary happened here, where an outgoing president working together with the incoming team and Steve Witkoff going out to Doha to join the negotiator, Brett McGurk, who had been there for many days, and together seamlessly working to achieve that goal of ending the carnage, ending the suffering in Gaza, and bringing home all of the hostages, 33 of them in phase 1. I think that is what's most incredible here.
Was the notion of destroying Hamas once and for all, was that ever feasible, do you think? Because that's the point that this gentleman makes. Under the agreement, Hamas will be able to replenish its depleted ranks. 700 or more terrorists will go straight from Israeli prisons to the streets of Gaza. And it's a mistake that Israel has made in the past that sometimes comes back to haunt Israel. And additionally, goods, things can flow back into Gaza. Could it have been, if you waited till after the inauguration, would Israel have been more free to completely crush Hamas once and for all, Amos? And was that ever a possibility, or not feasible?
First of all, I don't think it would have made any. You're talking about doing it next week or this week. I don't think it makes any difference. The Trump team was there as part of this negotiation. They reached the same conclusion that we did, that this was the right time to do it. And look, Israel, at some point in every conflict like this, on the battlefield, you have to turn the battlefield gains, and Israel certainly has enormous battlefield gains here, into political gains. And the point of the war at the end of the day is to bring the hostages home and to have the security arrangements that Israel needs. Israel believes that it does have that. The Israeli military believes that. And I think that that's what you have to focus on, is what's the right moment to be able to do that. There's always, at any time you end a war, except for a World War II-like capitulation of the ending, you always have to make that decision. Remember, November 27, just 50 days or so ago, we announced the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, and that people thought it would only hold for 10 days. Hezbollah would immediately rearm. They have not. The ceasefire is holding. And in fact, that ceasefire is what gave us the ability to do this deal, because Hamas realized cavalry's not coming. They've been, Hezbollah is no longer in the fight. They made the deal. Israel now has a one-front war, not a two-front war. And for the first time in a long time, they came back to the negotiating table. So it's and the same issue there, translating military gains into political gains. That's what happens at the end of conflict. happens.
It's food and goods and fuel, and we've always, obviously the humanitarian plight of people in Gaza has been very difficult to watch. But we know what happens to a lot of the goods and fuel that go into Gaza. We know how ruthless Hamas can be in terms of not really caring whether it gets to the people that need it or not. That's going to resume as well. Is there anything that can be done to make sure that doesn't continue to happen and just strengthen and allow Hamas to regenerate itself?
Look, no one, let me be very clear. No one, not in Israel, not in the United States, no one wants to see Hamas reestablishing itself. And that's why this agreement is about bringing hostages home, ending the conflict for now, for these 42 days, using this time to negotiate the phase 2 of the deal while working with allies to establish a new security and civilian administration in Gaza that is not Hamas. We all recognize that you can't have a vacuum there, and then Hamas just starts its new 20-year buildup of weapons. But the Israelis are not going anywhere. The Palestinians are not going anywhere. And so we have to have something that could work. And continued war is not the answer. It's certainly not the answer for the hostages and their families who are coming home. So we recognize the risks. I think that the Trump team is going to come in and continue this process to try to figure out a political horizon that ensures Israel's security and gives Palestinians in Gaza a new hope to be able to live under a leadership that works. Look, the Middle East today, Joe, is dramatically different than what it was just a few months ago. Iran is weaker than it's been since the fall of Saddam Hussein. Its proxies are weaker. Hezbollah has degraded significantly. Assad is gone, and there's an opportunity in Syria. Hamas is militarily defeated. Israel is recognized by both their friends and their foes alike as the strongest military. No one is doubting the power of the United States. So I think these are moments of opportunity.